Welcome to the Tank Podcast. In this week's episode, Suzy Hansen reads from her book, From Life Itself, a chronicle of life under rising authoritarianism in Turkey.
But why was Ercüment Kimyon arrested in the first place? His daughter said it was to silence his vocal criticism after the earthquake, to discredit him and his allies. An arrest made it easy for national papers to say that he was bad, and that his political party, the HDP, was bad too. Everyone against Erdogan or critical of Erdogan was a terrorist, after all. The authorities succeeded for 2 weeks in keeping Ercüment's voice off the streets, out of the newspapers, off Facebook. But the thing about gradualist authoritarian regimes is that some courts still work. Justice depended on how many people remained in Turkey who wanted to and could do their jobs. When he got out, Ercüment decided to run for parliament in the coming election as a candidate from Yeşil Sol Party, the Green Left Party, which was what the HDP was forced to reconstitute as after prosecutors opened a case in 2021 to ban it from political life. It was people like Ercüment, the journalists, the lawyers, the Kurds, the architects, the engineers, the city planners, the tweeters, the jail occupiers, who had made up an archipelago of resistance for the last 10 years. An undemocratic country can prevent people from marching in the streets, but not always from working in their offices, filing legal cases, publishing their academic papers, providing proof of wrongdoing on Twitter. Even in the absence of real institutions, these people took advantage of whatever pathways within those institutions hadn't yet been obstructed, whatever avenues of freedom remained open to them. Someone like Ercüment Kimyon rarely came to national attention, but in a country of 80 million people, there were thousands of Ercüment Kimyons who for 20 years continued to do their jobs for few rewards and at great peril. At that point, I had lived in Istanbul for 16 years, since 2007, the year of Erdogan's second election. It was my home, and I still had many loved ones there, so in some way I could access the enormity of the earthquake's horror in my daily life. There was the doctor who broke down crying in our appointment, saying, "This is mass murder." The lawyer friend struggling to understand Istanbul's complex earthquake rules for her own apartment building, saying, "Can you imagine this is where my son sleeps?" The impoverished taxi driver who flew down south to do search and rescue, and whose memory of bodies piled on pavement brought him to silence. My landlord was from Hatay. My therapist was from Iskenderun. A friend I had lunch with was from Gaziantep. The owner of my favorite kebab place was from Antakya. One morning at a cafe, my friends laughed a little loud over breakfast, and the waiter stopped them. "I am from Adıyaman," he said. What they all knew was that the 21st century dystopian future that haunts our dreams, whether because of climate change or war or despotism, had come for them, that thousands of people, rich and poor, lay crushed under their own possessions, and that as day turned to night, in rain and snow, dead bodies lay in the street with no one to bury them, and men, women, and children cried out from rubble tombs with no one to save them. Those left alive have been forced to witness this new world. Their family was gone, their house was gone, food and water were gone, the roads were gone, the airports and the ports and the police were gone, the fire department was gone. And they now lived in a wasteland, the kind we used to say only natural disasters, only nature, only God was powerful enough to create. But the truth was only man could have created this magnificently rigged apocalypse. And we could confidently say in Turkey, in 2023, the 100th anniversary of the Turkish Republic, this act of creation was done by one. Erdogan had consumed Turkey's main natural resource and drew his entire power from it. And when that wasn't enough, he sought more lands outside Turkey. And when that wasn't enough, he rented the land to abuse Syrian refugees and reaped European rewards from it. In pursuit of dismantling Turkey's old ideology, he had hollowed out his own government, deposing any expert or academic, whether an architect or a political science professor or an earthquake logistics bureaucrat who might impede his creation of his new entity. His vision was a country united by his personal ideology of Islamic sentimentality and post-Western revenge, one that was still taking shape, but turned out to be worthless in the face of a genuine natural catastrophe. It felt in a supernatural way that the land was speaking back, that this kind of exploitation and abuse caused a revolt from below. That's how it felt at that moment, a permanent devastation. But time moves fast in our century. The big men were one step ahead. We didn't know yet that Erdogan had all along planned yet another survival route out of Turkey and into the world.
To hear more podcasts from Tank, you can subscribe on all major podcast platforms or follow us on SoundCloud. The theme music for this podcast is by Himera.